Yes, it's that time again. You've asked, so I've responded. We are going to be doing the Rent-to-Rent Super Conference again in 2025, and tickets are now available. All right? If you missed last year, it was unreal. So you need to make sure this year you're with us.
Who am I and what am I doing? My name is Jeff, and I am a full-time in property, and I specialize in rent-to-HMO. I also do serviced accommodation, and I run a £500,000 property business based in Northampton. Rent-to-rent was like magic for us because we did not have savings for a deposit for buying a property. And rent-to-rent was the perfect inlet for us. We were able to get started, and it was just a few months later. In fact, after meeting Simon Smith, it was just a couple months later that we landed our first deal. Rent-to-rent has allowed us both to leave our 9-to-5s. It has given us our time back and certainly our freedom. My advice to people looking to get into rent-to-rent, it is true, doubts creep in, and there's always that voice in one's mind that's saying, oh, it's not possible, or maybe it's not for me, or what if that, and what if that. My advice to you is to ignore that voice and just take a leap of faith and go and explore, because you can't go wrong by exploring a possibility. Spend some time. Go and see what it's all about and see if it might be right for you, because it could change your life, but have the courage to go and try it out. My lifestyle is different now that I'm free from that 9-to-5. I have freedom of time. I have a lot of responsibility, but I have freedom of time, and I have freedom of how to spend my days. And that's just been so liberating, because I don't feel the constraints that I used to feel when going to work. Rent-to-rent has changed my life, honestly. Career-wise, I started out as a craftsman building musical instruments. It is something I'm very well suited for, and I really enjoyed it. And I was able to support my family doing so, which was great. It was amazing. But the problem for me was I was trading my time for money. And I found myself waking up quite early every morning before my kids woke up. They were small at the time. And get on my bike. I would cycle to work. I would try and squeeze in my 12 hours any way I could, even if it meant like skipping lunch or breaks, and get back on my bike at 8:45 at night and race home and try and get there before my daughter was going to bed so I could have a chat and tuck her in and all that. My son at the time was a bit younger, so I saw even less of him. And this over time was a bit wearing on me, and I started to think, am I really gonna continue doing this for the rest of my life? And the answer was no. And so I started to branch out and learn new things. And I started learning about money and assets and liabilities. I started learning about banking and how all the financial system works. And it was an eye-opening experience for me. And it wasn't long before I understood that I was on the wrong side of this world's financial system. And around that time, my wife was very keenly interested in property. And basically those two interests of ours converged because property is an asset, and I was looking for something new. So that's when we started to get educated in property. It wasn't long after that 2020 came, and we found ourselves in the midst of lockdown, and I was self-employed at that time, and I lost all my clients and my workshop space. I lost all of that overnight, basically. So it was a perfect time for me to pivot and pivot hard. And we took the leap and we started a property business in March of 2020. Why am I starting to get involved with training? Yeah, that's a good question. I get a lot out of it. Teaching other people to do what I know how to do really does help me understand better what I do. That's an old adage, and it's true. Another thing that I really enjoy is being surrounded by the other team members at Simon Smith Online. They're up to the same things that I am up to. And they are lovely people, and they're high-performing people, and then they're just a good group for me to hang around. So those are great benefits to me. I obviously enjoy seeing mentees learn and succeed. I have worked with very young mentees, maybe in their early 20s, still in school and smashing it, doing rent-to-rent deals. So that is gratifying. I do get a lot of satisfaction out of that.